Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today after the day job, I am off to check out the latest Disney film, Haunted Mansion. This is the movie that's based off of the classic Disney World and Disneyland ride of the same name, Haunted Mansion, which happens to be my personal favorite ride at Disney World. I know it's a lot of people's personal favorite, but I loved this ride so much ever since I was a kid. I can't remember, I think I was around 8 years old the first time I rode the Haunted Mansion. I remember the part where you're going at the very end of it where it looks like the ghosts are riding in the car with you. It scared the shit out of my sister, and I always thought that was awesome. Right then and there, favorite ride. Alright, so what is the plot of this movie? So a single mom and her child move into this big old mansion. I believe it's in New Orleans. And wouldn't you know it, the damn thing is haunted with a bunch of different kind of spooky old ghosts. So the mom hires several different ghost hunters to try to get rid of the evil spirits that dwell within the Haunted Mansion. Now, here's my one issue I have with this film before we even get out the door. This seems like yet another missed opportunity for a summer horror film. Well, I mean, this is more of a family spooky fest kind of film. But shouldn't this be during Halloween? I mean, come on, what is the deal here? And I feel like Disney did this before with Hocus Pocus. For like no good reason, they released it in July. Why? Because the movie was totally all about Halloween. Yeah, let's just release it in July. Same thing here. Now, I don't know if this movie has anything to do with Halloween, but with the spooky vibe of it, it just seems like a very missed opportunity putting this movie out in July. Alright, now that's the only negative thing I have to say going into this. I am looking forward to this movie. It looks really good. There is one amazing cast in this film. We have Rosario Dawson, Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Jared Leto, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Just some of the names that are in this movie. So, yep, it's enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbing because I got work to do, man. I got to get down to the museum because I got things to do. Because I need to go see some top men. Okay, guys, well, it's time for me to get out of here. And then I am off to check out the new movie, Haunted Mansion. Welcome back, just getting home, and you know what, guys, this movie was fun. It's not going to be winning any Oscars anytime soon, but it was a good, solid, fun family film with a little bit of spookiness attached to it. Okay, so let's get this started, shall we? We're going to do it like I'd like to do. We're going to start with the negatives and then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Okay, so the number one problem I have with this film is why in God's green earth, Disney, did you release this movie in July? This film has such an awesome, spooky Halloween vibe to it, and there's never enough spooky Halloween movies around that time of the year for the whole family. So why? Why did you release this in July? The only thing I can think of is the fact that it's going to show up on Disney Plus around September-ish. That's probably how this is going to play out. I don't know why Disney does this. This is the second time they did this with Hocus Pocus. They released it in July, and they're like, gee, why didn't anybody want to go see our Halloweeny movie during July? That's weird. That doesn't seem to work. It doesn't make any sense, guys. And honestly, it doesn't really ruin the movie. It just kind of gives you this false sense of hope. Like the movie ends and you walk outside and you're expecting that crisp autumn air and you're just hit in the face with nasty 90 some odd degree humidity. And no, it's not fun and it's not crisp. It's swamp ass, folks, and it's not good. And so, yes, you walk out of the theater expecting wonderful, the smell of burning wood in the air, and you come out and it's swamp ass. That's not good. Okay. So that's really, honestly, my number one negative. Also, too, I believe the film relies way too much on CGI. This is a haunted house film. This was a great opportunity for Disney to show off some of its practical effects, and they didn't. They went with CGI. They just went with CGI. And instead of, like, slightly translucent, kind of ghosty guys, you know, people in makeup would have worked out just as well, and it would have actually given a little bit more solidity and made the scene look a little bit more real. Okay, and honestly, guys, those are my two biggest problems with this film. I thought all in all, it was a fun, all-around great family film with a really good spooky vibe. Alright, so let's get into the positives, shall we? My number one positive was the cast. Everyone is great. Now, I left out Lakeith Stanfield. He is our star of this film. He plays our lead, and he does a great job. I really liked him in this role. Maybe it was the character himself, but I really liked the character he played, Ben. It was a lot deeper and a much more relatable character than I was expecting out of a Disney family film. This movie actually goes in a bit more deeper into an emotional core than I was really expecting. I was expecting a fun, goofy, Halloween-y kind of, you know, slightly spooky comedy, and I was not expecting something that deals with loss, grief, and how to move on. I was very impressed with the way that this movie handled sensitive matters such as life and death, and also keeping it very appropriate for a young audience. The cast in the film really helped with this. So yeah, I really liked every one of the actors, but I do want to bring up one particular actor, and he's not one of the big famous ones, and that is our young man, the kid who played our lead child, the only child, and that is Chase Dillon. He was great. This kid had me rolling. Some of his facial expressions alone were enough to kill me. He seemed not just like a little boy who was scared. It was like a little miniature man, and then you had him standing next to Danny DeVito, so you had two little miniature men. It was crazy, man. It was crazy stuff. I enjoyed it. It was great. The chemistry with everyone was a lot of fun. The laughs were there. I am not just speaking for myself. You know how I am. You know I'm an easy sense of humor guy. People around me were laughing, and here's the thing. We were seeing this with a predominantly adult audience. We were able to get into a pre-screening, so there were mostly adults in there, and we were still hearing a lot of good laughs. Not every joke lands. You're not going to go into this expecting a bunch of belly gut laughter, but there are some very solid jokes, and it seems to be very well sprinkled around the entire cast. So when you have a lot of really great comedic acts coming together like this, sometimes they try to outdo each other and all, but this time they work together as a great team and delivered not only a fun story, but an actual nice little heartwarming story with an extremely nice, solid, emotional core. So guys, if you haven't already seen Barbie and Oppenheimer, well then get out there and check out Haunted House. I really do think that this film is solid. I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. So this is a definite solid. See it in theaters. Take the kiddos. I feel like this is probably appropriate. Now again, don't ever listen to me, for God's sakes. You make your own decisions on whether or not you think something is appropriate for your kid. I want to get that across right now. But the young man in this film is 9 years old, and so I'm going to base this off the fact that a 9-year-old was in the film. So I would say from that age group up is going to have a really great time with this. So get out there, check this movie out. It's a lot of fun. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you could do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.